Hey guys, welcome to Monday Thrones. In this episode, I think we're going to do a full recap. So we're one episode down, 5 to go. But although, to warn you, there is spoilers ahead. Alright. Here we go. Okay, for my thoughts on the episode for this spoiler-free review, I thought this was, one of the, good episodes. Although, keep it brief. Well, the plot, of course, is about everyone in the North must get alliances and prepare for, of course, the war against the White Walkers, which is, of course, the final battle. And even though if they don't do anything, then everything we know will fall. Not just the Iron Throne, not just everything, but we mean everything and everywhere. But at least we've, of course, there's gotta be some, of course, and I say, of course, Pabst block ahead. We meant that figuratively. Well, that's the exact reference. Although I should keep it at minor because there's the first one that it's a flashback to the very first episode of Game of Thrones, the series premiere, where Arya Stark sees, of course, Ned Stark and of course, King Varian, played by Mark Addy, and then we saw Jaime Lannister, Cersei Lannister, and the Hound. Like I say, that's the flashback too, of course. This is, of course, the flashback in the beginning. Like I say, keeping it minor spoiler, but But I'm not gonna reveal that scene. Just, it's a beginning scene. That's this whole thing. And I love the reunion scene of the stars. Between the characters, which I'm not gonna be naming, but like I say, really interesting. And although, oh, I wish there was no. And of course, one similar plot in this episode, and of course, 3 different points of characters. Well, okay, 2, yeah, because one focuses on the aftermath of Season 7, and of course, one is the continuation from the other aftermath of Season 7. Although, I would say, of course, although the conversations are interesting, and the scenes, and some scenes were really, really the best, but can't have some negatives, because Cersei just don't want to, sometimes the same thing is, of course, Cersei Lannister. Still the same person as the king, or the queen. The aftermath of season 6, but although we are going to be, of course, I would say that we're heading to the final battle. And some of them are really scary. The best funny moments, and of course, sex scenes are interesting, but one scene, there's only one sex scene, and we have death counters, but I will reveal it after my spoiler review. Although I've announced there will be no, but I will find out if there's any major character deaths, and we'll find out. Okay, guys, we are heading to spoiler territory. If you have not seen Game of Thrones, you might want to tune out now and go see the episode. But other than that, just if you did see it, just stick around for spoiler reviews. And to warn you, this podcast contains strong language and, of course, strong sexual themes. We're heading spoiler territory in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello, guys. Welcome to the full spoiler review for episode 1, season of the final season of Game of Thrones. Well, first off, I just want to say that I saw the intro for Game of Thrones. That definitely looks cool as shit, you know? Because I'm not gonna lie, because, you know, because this is, of course, Game of Thrones. But this is Monday Thrones, where I talk about Game of Thrones, which is part of April Madness. Well, although I've already covered Star Wars Celebration, but there's one more day to go for Star Wars Celebration, but other than that, here we go. With Daenerys and Jon Snow arriving in the north, and of course on horses with her loyal subjects, and while Varys and Tyrone are on the wagon, and on their way, he happened to make some testicle jokes. And I laugh at the. And although he began with the boy, and Arya, you know, which good flashback season 1 with Arya Stark, just like when she was a little girl. But although the dragons have arrived in there, and even so, Sansa just saw the dragons alive, while Jon sees Bran Stark and of course Sansa Stark. They hugged. No? Well, not all together, but Sansa after Bran. But then, Daenerys finally met Sansa. Of course, met Sansa Stark. Which is, of course, you know, the interesting part. Although Sansa gave Daenerys the north. But And although they did get the news that the Dead will be marching for the South, though around at the meeting, they need to to give order. And what it is, and the kid suggested was more men and horses, if there were any. But then the little girl just said that Jon is the king. He's the king of the North. But then it's reason why Jon Snow has, of course, chose the North over the Crown. Although they have the Lannisters to come together or die. And although we have a Tyrion and Sansa conversation, and they were both not really impressed. They were both not really impressed with, of course, with each other. Like an excitement. They just, like, When she's the queen of this kingdom, and while she's not very impressed with Tyrion as Daenerys' right hand man. But although I'm really glad they did, but Cersei just wanted to survive. Well, that's a bad idea. But it did at the seed, where of course Arya just saw Jon Snow and says, of course, and I said that he was dead. That stab wound the heart had killed him, but he survived. I said, how did he survive a stab in the heart? And he said he did it, and then they hugged it out. And then she's got of course, a needle blade, while Jon Snow has a viper blade for his sword. And although there is more to come with Jon Snow, now we cut to Cersei the cunt, where she has that bad idea. Well, she gets the bad news that Winterfell is fell, and she's like, good. And she didn't care. Cunt. And although arriving at King's Landing is Aeron and his captured niece, Yara. His captured niece, Yara. And then he said those words before he left. Now, excuse me, I'm gonna go fuck the queen. Yeah. Good luck with that. But then he just, wanted to exchange the queen's affection. But then Cersei just admitted that she have killed most men. Well, less men. Well, then he said, then Aeron says he's a lesser man. Then she had told him to come along. But then Aeron has one last glimpse of the mountain. The one who I thought that was Braun Strowman in Bad Effects. And then here we saw Braun with baby. A sex scene with three naked women. That dance I want interrupted. Oh, god damn it! Oh. But then, of course, he had made a deal with the Bay to make sure to kill her brother. Not Jaime Lannister, but Tyrion, who still wanted revenge over Joffrey. who still wanted revenge for him over what happened with Joffrey. Although, he gave him a crossbow and then go off. Sorry, pencil sharpener. Sorry, pencil sharpener. And yes, I get the tweet. But I'll read that soon. When talking about, of course. Although, now where was I? Oh yeah, with the scene arrow. And it's just wanted to get intimate with the bitch. And then he gave his last words before he left. I'm gonna put the prince in your belly. Although, and there we saw Reek, or in that case, Theron, him and rescue his sister. But nope, they did not hug. Yara just, of course, hit her brother. Well, I thought that was a sign of betrayal, but it was actually just want to grab his hand to lift him up, and then they escape. Now that's the best moment right there. But when they're on his ship, his new fleet, he of course decided to part ways with Yara. The day they shake hands and they say, "For where I stand, we die." We die, we stand. And then they do hug. That one was the sweetest moment ever. This is, of course, in the Karstarks have finally arrived, and they joined the alliances. Although the interesting fact that the Starks and the Karstarks have slaughtered each other throughout generations. But then for now they are allies. Ferris and Tyrion just, of course, talk about Daenerys and Jon Snow. But Tyrion said, "Like to make a happiest couple." Well, Although, the dragons were eating the goats. Well, when Jon and Daenerys arrived after one of her former lovers, people, just arrived. It just announced that the goats were eaten. But although dragons don't like North, they were eating the animals, of course. And this is one of the best scenes ever. And although the dragon ride, Jon Snow wasn't able to be mastering, of course, the dragons, and then able to master the dragons, and then the Daenerys went back for, they arrived at the waterfalls, and then they, of course, have they were sharing a kiss, but then the dragons came in there, and she told them they would find a rider for one soon. Then they kissed again, and I like that. That is one creepy dragon. Jon Snow knows nothing about anything, and Jon Snow doesn't know how to train his dragon. Because he was on, of course, of course, How to Train Your Dragon 3, the conclusion. the conclusion of How to Train Your Dragon, which was produced by, of course, Paramount, and of course, Fox, and then Universal. Although, we saw Hound at the weaponry blacksmith. And then, of course, he was confronted by the one who tried to kill him. But, although, he just, you know, got out of here, you know. And that's it. You know, she didn't finish him. Just, you know, that's it. Then Arya wants her dagger welded by the blacksmith. But although, that is the, you know, those are vibro blade. With a vibro blade. Sorry, got a loogie. And, although did turn down the offer, but he would never, you know. And speaking of turning down, House Glover had turned down the alliances and betrayed the Starks. Had betrayed the Starks. And that's all what, you know. They did promise they would stay together till the end, but they lied. And as we heard the door open, well, you know, we already seen that Jon Snow and Sansa are having an argument. As we heard the door, Daenerys arrived, along with the man who saved, along with Grey Worm, the one that Samwell has saved, life to death. But although he asked for her pardon for the books he had stolen from the Citadel and the sword he stolen from his family. But even though he did get some unfortunate news about his father and his brother, that he, of course, that they were executed by her as they stand their ground. And then he asked if he can leave, and she accepted his request to leave for a little bit. And then he went and confronts Bran, and he knows the truth that he is not related to the Starks, but he is not the bastard. He's not the bastard son as he is. Although we see Jon and Samwell having a conversation. But then, turns out that it was Ned Stark who was lying to him. But then, it is, of course, he is not a Stark. Well, his mother is a Stark, although his father is a Targaryen. It's a Targaryen. Just like Daenerys is. But although it is claimed that he is actually never been a bastard, he was actually a Targaryen, the true heir of the Iron Throne. And of course his real name is Aegon Targaryen. Pencil drop. You know, sorry, I had my pencil drop. Just and then wildlings looking for the walkers. But they see the other people, and they thought the wildlings were one of them, or one of the walkers, but, you know, but he claimed he already had blue eyes. Well, it's true, because, you know, that's his eye color. He's not a possessed zombie. But although we see the little boy, of course, and he, of course, had the message from the king. Well, well, the dagger in his gut. Yeah, that's the message. But then that holy shit moment where that kid was hanging in there and scared. It's just growling like a zombie, and then he was burned alive with the sword. And that killed the kid instantly. But then we get the last clip where we see Jaime Lannister arrive. And of course, he sees the same kid. Well, yeah, Bran. The same kid he pushed down the window when he saw him and Cersei in a incest fucking. Wow. That's just weird, you know? That's the same one he pushed down the window. No? And then that ends the episode. But although we get a sneak peek of episode 2 where, of course, Jaime Lannister is obviously, you know, being confronted by Daenerys at the meeting, and then, of course, she was not happy because of that man who killed her father. You know? But although, and we see the war preparation between the Allies and the White Walkers. And then that'll be next week. Alright, guys? That's the full-on spoiler review. It's time to end the episode. Okay, there's the death counter. Well, no major deaths or anything, but, of course, there's only like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's like 7 deaths towards humans, and there's like deaths of animals, but there's too hard to count. And there's that little boy, so therefore, 8 deaths total. On animals, not, I keep up with humans, not animals. But before I do, I just want to say, it's time to end the episode. Alright guys, that's good about it for Monday Thrones. I gotta say, this is an interesting episode of Monday Thrones that I just saw. And even so, we got 5 more episodes to go before the show is over. And before David Benioff and D.B. Wise will make a transition to Star Wars. And speaking of transition to Star Wars, it's my turn to make a transition to Star Wars Celebration for the final day, which is also part of April Madness. And I had a lot to cover. Alright guys, I will see you next time. And in Monday Thrones, you either do it or you die.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.